Okay, welcome to Spongebob 14. Today, what we're going to do is that we have a situation where we have a line and a point. They're kind of sitting out there minding their own business. Let's take a look at how that would look. The line y equals 2x minus 5 is right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the y-intercept. And then I have to go up to over 1, up to over 1. Again, this is the line y equals 2x minus 5. And then there's a point called 2, 3 that's out there somewhere. It's located right here. That's the point 2, 3. And what we're looking for is a second line that's going to be parallel to this line right here, but it's going to have to also go through the point 2, 3. And the question is, what is the equation of that line? First, what would that line look like? It will look something like this. So the equation of the line that we're looking for will be this, to represent this green line here. So once again, we'll be given a line and a point and asked to find the equation of a second line that will be parallel to the first and go through that point. How do you make such a line? Here we go. Okay, first of all, we look at the slope that's here. The slope of this first line, first slope, is going to be 2. I can also call this 2 over 1. Okay, so just note that this can also be called 2 over 1. So the first slope that we're given is 2 over 1. If you want a new line that is parallel, that second line to be parallel has to have the same slope. So we write the second slope has to equal 2. Not only does the second slope have to equal 2, we want it to go through the point 2, 3. So this is what we're going to use to make the new line. We're going to use the same slope from the first equation, M1, so M2 is going to have 2, and we're going to use the line the point 2, 3 in order to make the line. So here we go. Y equals mx plus b. Y here, that's the 3, equals m, that's the 2. The x, that's the 2 here, then plus b. Okay, we're going to multiply these two and get 3 equals 4 plus b. And from there, to solve for b, I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides. And I'll get -1 equals b. Therefore, my conclusion is the equation of that new line is going to be y equals second slope 2, x minus 1. Finish. This is the equation of that new line here. Kind of drew it poorly. Should have drew it a little lower, but that's fine. Okay, let's go here. All right, I want to make a line that's parallel to this, but it's going to go through the point -6, 3. So I first identify my first slope. My first slope, my first line is 2/3. To be parallel, my second equation, its slope is going to have to be 2/3. And it's going to have the point -6, 3. So these are the conditions for that second line that's going to be parallel. So let's make that line. Y equals mx plus b, point slope formula. The y here is going to be 3. The slope here is going to be 2/3. The x is going to be a -6 plus b. Okay, now we're going to simplify this part right here. So this will be 3 equals. And this is a positive times a negative, so that's going to be a negative answer. And 6 divided by 3 is 2. And 2 times 2 is 4. So that's 4. And then plus b. Then I'm going to solve for b by adding 4 to both sides. And I'll have 7 equals b. Therefore, my conclusion is my second line, which uses the second slope here, is going to be y equals 2/3 x plus 7. Finish. Okay, number 3. We want a line that's parallel to the equation y equals negative 7/2 x plus 2. And we want it to go through the point 14, negative 1. So first, we established that the slope of the first equation right here is negative 7/2. And we want the slope of the second equation to also be negative 7/2. Not only do we want the second equation to have a slope of negative 7/2, we want it to contain the point 14, negative 1. So we're going to build the equation from this situation right here. So y equals mx plus b. My y here will be my negative 1. My slope here, the second slope, will be negative 7/2. The x will be the 14. And then here we're going to have plus b. All right, so let's simplify this. We have a negative times a positive, which will be negative. And so the denominator will be used for dividing. So 14 divided by 2 is 7. And 7 times 7 is 49. Okay, and then plus b. All right, now to finish solving for b, I'm going to add 49 to both sides. And I'll end up with 48 equals b. Therefore, my conclusion is this. My second equation will be y. And sometimes we do this to distinguish between the first equation and the second equation. You'll see a y1 there to say this is the first equation, this is the first slope. And this will be the y2, second equation. Which will be, what's the slope? Oh, negative 7/2 x and then plus 48. Okay. Now,
so
okay, we're going to look at a new situation here. It has to do with perpendicular lines. So this little symbol right here means we're looking for perpendicular. And I'll give you an example of what that looks like. So y equals 2x minus 5. And we want to go through the point 2,5, I believe. Oh, sorry, 2,3. Okay, so let me draw this and let you see what it looks like visually. Okay, this equation right here looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's right about here. And the slope is rise 2, run 1. Rise 2, run 1. That ain't. Okay, so this is what, graphically, this is what this line looks like. 2, 3 looks like this. That's the point 2, 3. I never did label my y-intercept. So that was 0, -5. Okay. So what we're looking for this time is the second line that's going to be perpendicular to this. That means it's going to cross at a perfect 90-degree angle. And the point needs to go through, sorry, the line needs to go through the point 2, 3. So this is what the line is going to look like. You have a perfect 90-degree angle here when it meets the original line, or line number 1. But it will also go through point 2, 3. That's the equation. Sorry, that's the line that we want to create the equation for. So how do you do that? Well, we first note that the first slope here is 2, or should I say 2/1, same thing. The perpendicular slope is found by changing the sign and taking the reciprocal of the slope. So this is positive 2 over 1. We're going to change this to negative 1 over 2. This change in sign and a reciprocal actually gives you a perpendicular slope, or should I say a slope that meets at a 90-degree angle. And for the second slope, we're going to use the point 2, 3. So using this situation right here, the second slope and this point, we're going to make a line from this. So y equals mx plus b. The y, we're going to use 3. The m is going to be negative 1/2, the second slope right here. The x is going to be the 2 plus b. Okay, so we're going to simplify this. This is a negative times a positive, which is negative. Furthermore, we have 2 divided by 2, which is 1, and 1 times 1 is 1 plus b. Okay, continue to solve for b. I'm going to add 1 to both sides. And I get 4 equals b. Therefore, my conclusion is my second equation, I'll put a 2 here, second equation, this of course is my first equation, will be y equals negative 1/2 x plus 4. And this right here is the equation of that green line over here that we created. Okay, once again, we want to create a line that's going to be perpendicular to this one. And this is how we know this means perpendicular. But it has to go through negative 6, 3. So first we're going to identify our first slope from this first equation. So this first equation, his slope is negative 2/3. The second equation, we want it to be perpendicular. So the second slope is going to have an opposite sign. So this is negative. So ours will be positive. And we're going to have the reciprocal, so instead of 2 over 3, it'll be 3 over 2. So again, your second slope is going to be positive 3 over 2. And the line will also have the point negative 6, 3. So using these two, we're going to create a second line. Y equals mx plus b. Again, this is the second line. So y is going to be the 3 here. The slope is going to be 3 over 2. The x is going to be negative 6, and then plus b. Okay. Guys, we're broadcasting. So this will simplify. We have a positive times a negative, so that'll be a negative. And then we're going to have 6 divided by 2, which is 3, and 3 times 3 is 9, plus b. Now I'm going to add 9 to both sides, and we'll end up getting 12 equals b. So my conclusion is my second equation will be, using the second slope, will be 3/2 x plus 12. And this line right here, y2, will be perpendicular to y1. It will go through the point negative 6, 3. Okay, number 6. We have a perpendicular equation to the line y equals x plus 2. And we want to go through the point 14, negative 1. Okay, so let's make this work. First, Our first slope here is the coefficient on x. You don't see a number here in front of x, but it will be an understood 1. And to make that a fraction, this will be 1 over 1. So we'll think of 1 as 1 over 1. So when we create our perpendicular, we're going to change the sign. So it's going to go from a positive 1 over 1 to a negative. And when you flip 1 over 1, you still get 1 over 1. Okay. So this is essentially going to be our perpendicular slope. And we're going to use the point 14, negative 1. So we'll start off with y equals mx plus b to create our line, our second line, so the first line. So y is going to be negative 1. Our slope here is going to be negative 1. The x here is going to be 14 plus b. Negative 1 times a positive 14 is negative 14 plus b. Then we're going to add 14 to both sides. And we'll end up with 13 equals b. Therefore, our conclusion is that our second equation will use the second slope, which is negative 1, x, and then plus 13. This can also be written as just negative x, because one is understood, plus 13. And again, this is our second equation.